Now, what's of interest to us, and in this particular library chat, is the claim of his to have actually come across the wall built by Dhul Qarnayn. And according to him, inscribed on the gates of that wall were in Arabic, were the Quranic verse that حتى إذا جاء وعد ربي جعله دكاء وكان وعد ربي حقا. This is of course in Surah Al-Kahf, that when the command of your Lord is going to come, then the walls are going to break. And indeed, the wa'd Rabbi haqqa, and indeed the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is true. Now, he takes it as a given, meaning Salam and Ibn Khurdazbeh. He takes it as a given that Dhul Qarnayn is actually Alexander. And that's why Ibn Khurdazbeh calls the wall, he calls it the Radmu Iskandar, the wall of Alexander. And this was actually the common belief of many historians and mufassirun and scholars of hadith as well, that Dhul Qarnayn was Alexander. In fact, Ibn Hisham, the author of the Seerah, in his other history book, Ibn Hisham actually, again, quite factually writes that Iskandar, Alexander, was the one who blocked Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and he blocked them in the nether regions of the world. Al-Idrisi writes in his famous work on geography, and again quite factually, that Ya'juj and Ma'juj live in the furthest regions of the east. Al-Idrisi, in his famous book that he wrote for King Roger of Sicily, the Norman king of Sicily, Al-Idrisi, following Ptolemy and before him Aristotle, Al-Idrisi divided the world into 7 iqlim. Al-Idrisi and he said this quite factually in his book, you can still read it to this day, that he basically says that the furthest most eastern region of the world, in the 9th latitude of the 7th iqlim, this is where Ya'juj and Ma'juj live, trapped behind the wall of Iskandar. One can easily say, oh, but you know what these great scholars say, it's not the Quran and Sunnah, we don't have to believe them. And of course, I completely agree with this. And the response is, nobody's saying to believe them. However, what is being pointed out is that there's an immense amount of folkloric tradition that even respectable authorities who otherwise are reputable in their fields, they have fallen prey to. And perhaps some of that folkloric content even affected some of our most reputable scholars in some of the most mainstream discourses of our tradition. The summary of my research in this library chat, and we will not be discussing other related topics, which inshallah maybe a future library chat we might be talking about. For example, who was Dhul Qarnayn? And what exactly happened, back in the past? That's a very good story, a very good, interpretation of tafsir and hadith. I'm not interested in today's library chat. It's a very interesting topic. Who was Dhul Qarnayn? Was he Alexander or not? And that's an interesting topic. For the record, by the way, I don't believe he was Alexander, but it should be pointed out, by the way, again, FYI, because again, we want to raise the bar of awareness amongst English-speaking students of knowledge and create an aura of tolerance and of respect, even as we disagree with our classical ulama at certain occasions. The fact of the matter is, the vast majority, I mean the vast majority of pre-modern authors considered Alexander the Great to be Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn, it was like a given, it wasn't even up for discussion. Now, the vast majority, yes, alhamdulillah, there were strong dissenting voices, amongst them Ibn al-Qayyim. Ibn al-Qayyim in his Ighathat al-Lahafan, for example, he strongly discredits this notion that Dhul Qarnayn was Alexander the Macedoni. Of course, I also believe that Dhul Qarnayn is not Alexander the Great. Well, that's not today's library chat. Today's library chat is also not about, if you're aware of this or not, it's not today's the topic, the Syriac legend of Alexander and its alleged relationship with the Quranic story of Dhul Qarnayn. That perhaps is another library chat. It's not today's one.